morning, back with our classes on reproduction. We yesterday studied the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system. We studied that the male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes. These testes secrete not only a hormone called testosterone, which is responsible for secondary sexual characters in males. They are also responsible for the germination of the male germ cell, which is called as the sperm. The testis hangs outside in a sac-like structure, which is called as the scrotal sac or the scrotum, because it requires 1 to 2 degree temperature, less than the body temperature, for the sperms to germinate. From both the testes arise a tube-like structure, which is called vas deferens. In the passage of vas deferens, there are 2 glands present, which are prostrate and seminal vesicle. These glands secrete a fluid which helps the sperms to move, and also they nourish the sperm. The vas deferens of both sides join together or meet together in urethra, which is a common passage of both sperms and urine. The urethra is enclosed in a muscular organ called penis, which is then the sperms are discharged into the vagina of the female with the help of an erect penis. Now for the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries. Ovaries not only release egg every 28 days, but they also secrete female hormones, estrogen and progesterone, which are responsible for secondary sexual characteristics in females. From the ovaries, on both sides of the ovary, you have a funnel which is called as the oviductal funnel, which continues in the form of a tube which is called as oviduct or the fallopian tube, where fertilization takes place. The oviduct then expands on both the sides to form a bag-like structure which is called as the womb or the uterus, which opens into the vagina of the female through a small canal which is called as the cervix or the birth canal. Every time an egg is released, the uterus thinks that it is going to be a growing embryo, and it lines its walls with thick spongy blood vessels to nourish the embryo. But as the egg is not fertilized, the entire lining of the uterus goes waste, which comes in the form of blood through the vagina of the female, and this is called as the menstruation cycle. The onset of menstruation is called menarche, and the stopping of menstruation is called as menopause. The fertility period of the female is from menarche up to menopause till the egg is released. During the sexual act, the penis releases the sperms into the vagina of the female. The sperms travel upward through the vagina, through cervix or birth canal, through the uterus, and meet the egg at the fallopian tube. When the egg meets the sperm, internal fertilization takes place and a zygote is formed. The zygote divides continuously and reaches the uterine wall and gets itself implanted in the uterine wall. From now, the embryo or the growing embryo gets all its nourishment from a tissue which is called as what? Placenta. The functions of placenta, you have seen that it has blood spaces towards the mother's side, it has villi towards the child's side. You will find that respiration, excretion, digestion, everything takes place through this tissue which is called as what? Placenta. After about 9 months, which is called as the gestation period, the baby is delivered by the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the uterine wall, which is or uterine muscles, which is called as the labor pain. This is all about male and female reproductive system. Now we will talk about what health? Reproductive health. In India, we don't talk about reproduction at all. And families also, there is no major discussion until and unless you put up a question or you go and ask. Even when you ask, everybody in the family will say, why you want to know? So we do not really have awareness about reproductive health. And if you don't have awareness towards reproductive health and sexual hygiene, it becomes very difficult to prevent you from sexually transmitted diseases. So it is essential that you should have ample knowledge about reproductive health, how to control the size of the family, how to prevent unwanted pregnancies, and how to maintain the health of the female who is going to give birth to the child. Okay, so let us talk about all this. As we have seen, the process of sexual maturation is gradual and take place when the general body growth is still going on. Therefore, some degree of sexual maturation does not necessarily mean that the body or the mind is ready for sexual act or for having and bringing up children. How do we decide if the body or the mind is ready for this major responsibility? All of us are under many different kinds of pressures about these issues. There can be pressure from our friends for participating in many activities, whether we really want to or not. There can be pressure from families to get married and start having children. There can be pressure from government agencies to avoid having children. Because in India, if we say, if you have more than 2 children, you don't get increment in government jobs. Okay, so what they do is, they will sometimes go and have hysterectomy or whatever, vasectomy, or they will produce a false certificate that we have had a surgery so that we could not have furthermore children. In situations like this, making choices become very difficult. We must also consider the possible health consequences of having sex. We have discussed in class 9 that diseases can be transmitted from one person to another in varieties of ways. Since the sexual act is a very intimate connection of bodies, it is not surprising that many diseases can be sexually transmitted. Please write there, what are STDs? What are STD? STD is sexually transmitted diseases. Okay, sexually transmitted diseases are transmitted during the sexual act. What are the 2 types of sexually transmitted disease? Maybe a bacterial infection or maybe a viral infection. So, bacterial diseases and viral diseases. Sexually transmitted diseases are diseases transmitted during the sexual act. It can be a bacterial disease or a viral disease. Okay, so underline bacterial infections include, remember BGS. BGS Apollo, BGS, so what is BGS? Bacterial infection is gonorrhea and syphilis. Okay, viral infection is AIDS and wart. There should be no confusion between bacterial and viral infections. Bacterial infections are what? Gonorrhea and syphilis. Viral infection is AIDS, HIV AIDS and warts. Okay? Is it possible to prevent the transmission of such diseases during the sexual act? Very, very important. Please underline. Using a covering called a condom for the penis during sex helps to prevent transmission of many of these infections. So, sexually transmitted diseases can be prevented only by the use of condoms during the sexual act so that the fluid does not mix with each other. Okay, so basically we are talking about sexually transmitted diseases, which are bacteria and viral diseases. Bacterial disease is gonorrhea and syphilis. Viral diseases is AIDS and wart. What is AIDS full form? Please write. AIDS is what? Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Spread by which virus? HIV virus. is very, very low, or the immune system completely gets disturbed, and sometimes even common cold and fever can be the cause of your death. Okay? So what are the 4 different ways by which AIDS can spread? 4 different ways. Look, why do we fall ill? Everything you study. Last year, didn't you study? What are the 4 different ways?
From pregnant woman to a child.
Correct. First, from unprotected sex. The most common thing is from unprotected sex, not with a normal person, but with a diseased person. So you have to always mention that. How do you all write, from unprotected sex? Unprotected sex, sabka hone se you don't get AIDS. Only when you have unprotected sex with a diseased person, you will get AIDS. So the first point, from unprotected sex with a diseased person. From a diseased mother to a child. Not every mother gives it to the child. Then all of us would be suffering from AIDS. Okay, so it is only from a diseased mother to the child. Then,
using syringes.
Correct. Using drug syringes of the infected person. And blood transfusion with the infected person. All 4. 4 different ways AIDS can spread. 4 different ways AIDS can spread. Having unprotected sex with a diseased person. All sexually transmitted diseases also, but AIDS in particular. Okay. So from having unprotected sex with a diseased person. Second, from a diseased mother to the child. From a diseased mother to the child. Why I am mentioning this diseased and all is, my great son wrote all the points, but he never used the word diseased. Okay, not my younger fellow, the elder fellow. And then he lost pura, 2 marks. So please make sure to write, because normal mother to child it doesn't transfer. Third, use of infected syringes. And fourth, blood transfusion with a diseased person. Blood transfusion with a diseased person, or a diseased person's blood is transfused in you. Understood? So the sexual act can be prevented only by the use of condom, not by the use of other contraceptive methods. Only condoms help in preventing sexually transmitted diseases. The sexual act has always a potential to lead to pregnancy. Pregnancy will make major demands on the body and the mind of the woman, and if she is not ready for it, her health will adversely affect. Therefore, many ways have been devised to avoid pregnancy. So when you avoid pregnancy, these methods are called as what method? Contraceptive methods. Please write. What are the different contraceptive methods used to control the size of the population? What are the different contraceptive methods used to control the size of the population, or to control the size of the family, or to control the size of the family? Okay, so please write there only contraceptive methods. So we have four methods: barrier method, chemical method, surgical method, and IUCD. IUCD li inter baribaru. Intra andre within the uterus. Inter and between two uteruses. Where will you get two bodies? So always understand it is intrauterine contraceptive devices. Hand it over in school. No. IUCDs are intrauterine contraceptive devices. Now I'll explain one by one all the methods. This is a short 3-mark question in bold. It will come. Okay, because you are the people who will next get married and control the size of the population. So this kind of question is asked every year. Either one full 4-mark question comes on all the 4 methods, or they'll ask you to mention all 4 methods and describe 2 methods, or any question on contraception will be there in your paper. Till now it has been there for past 18-19 years. Okay, so let us talk about all methods. First, barrier method. Barrier method is generally used mostly by men in the form of condoms, which is a covering put on the penis so that the sperm and the egg do not meet. So barrier method is mainly method used by men, but nowadays even females have barrier method in the form of vaginal cups, but still it is not much in use. Fine. So what is barrier method? Using of condom so that the sperm do not reach the egg, because condoms will have the sperm which can be thrown out. So as a result of it, barrier method is the use of condoms. Now chemical method, mainly used by females in the form of pills. Okay, you have to eat the pill every day, whether you indulge in the sexual act or not, till the time you do not want a baby. This is mainly done for people who are very systematic in their logic. People who are very okay and say, hey, today night, tomorrow I'll eat, means there are high chances of you becoming pregnant. So chemical methods means taking pills in every day so that your ovulation cycle is controlled and you will not get into unwanted pregnancies. These pills are dried female hormones. Okay? Now come to surgical method. Let us suppose I have finished having my babies, that is I want 1 baby or 2 baby, and then I go and tell my doctor that I further do not want any more kids. My family is complete. So what will the doctor do? The doctor will immediately ask you to go for a surgery which will stop you from becoming pregnant. So what happens in case of surgery is, the surgical method in female is called as tubectomy, and in males it is called what? Vasectomy. Spelling order of textbookally FDA can't be seen only. Hormonal balance, not given. Must be given somewhere. I don't know. Okay. Somewhere, let me write again. Notes are noted. VASEC. Okay, so it is tubectomy and vasectomy. What is tubectomy is, fallopian tube we studied. So this is how our fallopian tube looks now. So what is done is, this fallopian tube from both the sides is cut, okay, and then it is tied with a thread which dissolves later. Okay, so what happens when you completely tie the fallopian tube? The opening of the fallopian tube is sealed, and when it is completely tight, cells develop and they completely close the fallopian tube. So, cutting of the fallopian tube and ligating it, tying it with a thread, okay, is called as what process? Tubectomy. So, after tubectomy, you will find that the egg will never reach the uterus and there will be no fertilization. Right? Vasectomy. You know vas difference? The vas difference is cut and ligated, so that you will have semen, but the semen will not have any sperm. Right? So the cutting of vas difference and ligating it is called as vasectomy, and the cutting of fallopian tube and ligating it is called as what? Tubectomy. So these are very good methods of population control. If you go and show it to the government office, they will immediately give you a hike if you have more than 2 children. Okay, in China it is always what policy? 1 kid policy. In Japan, people are paid to have babies because their density of population is very, very less. In India, you have to tell people to stop having babies because we consider babies as gift of God. And they say, chalo bhaiya, shuru ho jao. As much as we want, we can have our kids. Okay, so this is it. The next method, the surgical method. Clear? First method, barrier method, use of vaginal caps and condoms. Chemical method, mainly done by ladies, which is the use of pills. Surgical method, in females called tubectomy, which is cutting of fallopian tube and ligating it. In males it is called vasectomy. You cut the vas difference and ligate it. And the next method, which is most commonly used, is IUCD. Your trained gynecologist or a trained nurse will insert this device, which is in the form of a T. Very thin copper wire is made in the form of a T of the female. Okay, this prevents the entry of the sperm into the fallopian tube. So this is called as what? Intrauterine contraceptive devices, but it will always have a small thread hanging into the vagina, and it needs to be monitored properly so that the lady does not have any infection. So these are the 4 different methods to prevent pregnancies or unwanted pregnancies and to control the size of the family. Clear? Understood? So let us read through it. Many ways have been devised to avoid pregnancies. These contraceptive methods fall in a number of categories. One category is the creation of mechanical barrier so that the sperm do not reach the egg. Condoms on the penis or similar coverings worn on the vagina can serve this purpose. Another category of contraceptive act by changing the hormonal balance of the body so that the eggs are not released and fertilization cannot occur. These drugs need to be taken orally as pills, which I told us what method? Chemical method. However, since they change hormonal balance, they can cause side effects too. Other contraceptive devices such as loop or copper T are placed in the uterus to prevent pregnancy. Again, they can cause side effect due to irritation of the uterus. If the vas difference in the male is blocked, sperm transfer will be prevented. If the fallopian tube in the female is blocked, the egg will not be able to reach the uterus. In both cases, fertilization will not take place and surgical methods can be used to create such blocks. So in female, it is called what? Tubectomy, and in males it is called what? Vasectomy. While surgical methods are safe in the long run, surgery itself can cause infections and other problems if not performed properly. This happened, I don't know if you have read paper I think one and a half years back. In Chhattisgarh, one doctor wanted to create a record of having, I don't know the exact number, but in a day he wanted to finish so many surgeries. So many surgeries of females, that is tubectomy. And he did, I think, about 150 or 120 surgeries, out of which 100 patients died because of infection, as they did not get proper care. Okay, and he did and kept on throwing them in the absence of beds into the, path of where, what you call? Ward hogo jagadalella malagsbittu he did. But then they caught infection and now he's put behind bars because he was trying to make some Guinness Book of Records or something about the surgeries which he could do. And he tackled all the poor, very rural ladies, and they all had, you generally will have camps being conducted in villages for tubectomy. Okay. Surgery can also be used for the removal of unwanted pregnancies. This may be misused by people who do not want a particular child. This is called as what? Female feticide. Gotto? In Punjab and all, the sex ratio is completely damaged, particularly in Punjab, Kerala and all other places where you really feel great. Your life, you feel, is accomplished if you have a male kid because your family generation continue by the male kid. Okay, so what they do is they go in for tests, and if they find that the child is a girl or the baby which is growing in your womb is a girl, they will abort it. There are doctors who also were doing all this, and then now there is a rule from Supreme Court that there is banning of the determination of sex before the child is born. So nobody will tell you what the child is, but still I think in India lot of people are so fond of having male kids that they are ready to go to any extent. They pay, they abort at the end only to get a male kid. Okay, so always understand, if you do that, I don't know if you have read, there is a village in Kerala, okay, where there is only male boys or male kids, male boys and male kids. Okay, and when they come to a marriageable age, there are no girls in the society. So probably if you kill females, a time will happen where you will again have the same Draupadi style. One lady sharing 5 husbands. Because there are no girl children, and girls and boys are equally required for maintenance of a healthy society. If you have less number of girls, the crime against women will increase, because each one after a certain age would require a partner for themselves. So it is very essential to maintain a proper sex ratio, male to female. Now it has reduced considerably. I think by the time you all get married, people would stop. Now only because of this great hero coronavirus, we do not have very mass marriages, mass ceremonies of all that. If it continues and people really understand that only 30 or 40 people can be accommodated in a marriage and no more dowry should be given, I think automatically both will be treated equally. Girls are treated as a burden because you have to give a lot to the girl, and parents kill themselves to the final drop so that to satisfy the boy's family or to the boy. With lot of love marriages happening, dowry automatically goes down, but then there should be no harassment of the girl who gets married and goes into the other family. As both of you are educated in the same way, both of you do not have any difference in the house as when you are treated or when you are born. So as a result of it, I don't think this should be carried. Every other countries, nobody bothers whether you have a girl or a boy. It should be a healthy baby. But in India, because it is the transfer of property, lot of things given in marriage, this was continued, that the boy is more important than the girl. But let us see, lot of laws are being formulated to ban what? Female feticide. Okay? For a healthy society, the female-male sex ratio must be maintained. Because of reckless female feticide, child sex ratio is declining at an alarming rate in some sections of our society. Although prenatal sex determination and the determination of the sex when the baby is inside the womb has been prohibited by law. So one question, why should female feticide be banned? Or why should prenatal sex determination be banned? Why should prenatal sex determination be banned. Okay, now the last part. We have noted earlier that reproduction is the process by which organisms increase their population. The rate of birth and death in a given population will determine its size. Very, very important line, please write. What determines the size of the population? I don't think if you have seen an ad, it keeps coming in Doordarshan and all other places that you should register both your birth as well as death. That is why it is made mandatory now that when you go in for any admission in schools, they ask you for a birth certificate which is given by your municipal corporation. Same way for all your bank transactions after the death, or even for cremating your body in an electrical crematorium, they will ask you to get what certificate? A death certificate. Registration of birth and death is mandatory because it tells you the size of population. Clear? The size of human population is a cause of concern for many people. This is because an expanding population makes it harder to improve everybody's standard of living. However, if inequality in society is the main reason for poor standards of living for many people, the size of population is relatively unimportant. If we look around us, we can identify as the most important reasons for poor living standard. What is poor living standard? Main thing? Many children, but only one person to earn. First thing. Second thing, low education. People generally, when they have no income and have a lot of children, they end up sending their children to work at a very young age. Okay? No proper source of income, no family standards. These all will lead up into what? Sending a child completely into poverty and into wrong tracks. Okay? So, now this finishes our chapter on reproduction. Let us come to the index question. How is the process of pollination different from fertilization? Notes al idea nodi onsali. I don't know if you have your notes here, please check, otherwise I will make you write. Check ಮಾಡಿ notes idre. Because ಎಲ್ಲಿ pollination ಬರ್ಸಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬರೆಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಟ್ಸು ತಂದೆ ಇಲ್ವಾ? ಪ್ರಿಂಟೇ ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ವಾ? Just see if it is there, otherwise write. Difference ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡಿ, pollination and fertilization. Difference between pollination and fertilization. Write pollination to the left, fertilization to the right. Pollination to the left and fertilization to the right. Shall I tell now? Answer Hella. What is pollination? The transfer of pollen grains. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the flower is called pollination. Is called pollination. Please write fertilization. The fusion of male and female gametes. The fusion of male and female gamete fusion of male and female gamete to form zygote is called fertilization. Next point, pollination involves only the male gamete because you are transferring the male gamete to the female gamete. It involves only the male gamete. Fertilization involves both male and female gamete. Two types of pollination, self and cross pollination. Two types of fertilization, external and internal fertilization. That also is not required because if you are writing it in terms of plant, then external and internal fertilization does not come because external and internal fertilization takes place only in animals. So only this much, but if they ask for more, then you can write all that. You can write pollination occurs only in plants, fertilization occurs both in plants and animals. Fine? But it is only, I think, in relation to plants that has been asked. So we will write only 1 point or 2 points. For pollination occurs only in plants. In animals, we do not have any pollination methods, but fertilization occurs both in plants and animals. Next question. What is the role of seminal vesicle and prostrate gland? It is a very, very important question. It has been asked multiple times. So what is the answer to it? It secretes a fluid medium for the sperms to travel and it also nourishes the sperm. Please write. The secretions of seminal vesicle, and prostrate gland provide first point very a fluid medium for the sperms to transport. A fluid medium for the sperms to move, whatever you want to write. A fluid medium for the sperms to travel. Second, it provides nourishment to sperm. It provides nourishment to sperm. What are the changes seen in the girl at the time of puberty? Growth of hair in the armpit and pubic region. Growth of hair in the armpit and pubic region. Mammary glands develop and the hips broaden. Mammary glands develop and the hips broaden. Uterus, vagina, fallopian tube enlarges. Uterus, vagina, fallopian tube enlarge. Menstruation occurs. How does the embryo get nourishment inside the mother's body? It is placenta. Please read from the notes. Okay, I'll work on body. Placenta, read from the notes. If a woman is using copper tea, will it help in protecting her from sexually transmitted diseases? No. Only what helps? Condoms help. Copper tea or any other method will not help from preventing it from sexually transmitted diseases. Please write no. Copper tea only prevents implantation. Copper D only prevents implantation. Only prevents implantation, but does not prevent sexually transmitted diseases. But does not prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Use of condoms. Use of condoms is the best way to prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Use of condoms is the best way to prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Okay, now let us come to the exercise part. Asexual reproduction takes place through budding in yeast. Okay, next, which of the following is not a part of the female reproductive system in human beings? Vas deferens. The anther contains pollen grains. What are the advantages of sexual reproduction over asexual reproduction? Bari the answer. First point, sexual reproduction induces variation. Sexual reproduction induces variation. These variations, next point, these variations allow organisms to live in diverse habitat, by process of adaptation. By process of adaptation, thus giving a survival advantage. Thus giving a survival advantage. Next point, these variations accumulated over a long period of time complete the sentence. These variations accumulated over a long period of time leads to evolution. Fine. Next question. What are the functions performed by testes in human beings? Production of male germ cell or sperm and secretion of testosterone, which is responsible for secondary sexual characters in male. Very first point. Production of male germ cell or sperm. Production of male germ cell or sperm. Second, production of male sex hormone. Production of male sex hormone testosterone, which is responsible for the transmission of secondary sexual characters in male. Transmission very well, which is responsible for development of secondary sexual characters in males. Development of secondary sexual characters in males. menstruation occur. He's right. Menstruation occurs when the egg is not fertilized. Next point. Every month, uterus prepares itself to receive a fertilized egg. By making its lining thick and spongy. Next point. If the egg is not fertilized, the lining breaks and discharges out of the body through the vagina in the form of blood and mucus. This is called menstruation. Which occurs every 28 to 30 days. Fine. Next, draw a well-labeled diagram of the longitudinal section of the flower, which has the petals and all that diagram. Next, what are the different methods of contraception? But write description of each as it is given in the notes. Very good. Refer notes. 8th question. Different methods of contraception. 9th. How are the modes of reproduction different in unicellular and multicellular organism? Unicellular organism uses primitive methods like binary fission, multiple fission, regeneration and budding. Can we have buds on our body and grow you into a new individual? Please write. Unicellular organisms are made up of only single cells in which all functions are performed by a single cell. Hence, reproduction is simple using asexual methods. Reproduction is simple using asexual methods such as fission, fragmentation, budding and regeneration. Such as fission, fragmentation, budding and regeneration. Next point ಬರೆಯಲಿಗ multicellular organisms are not just a random collection of cells. Multicellular organisms are not just a random collection of cells. They have specialized cells or tissues to perform different functions. Therefore, they reproduce by sexual reproduction with variation. Sexual reproduction with variation. Okay? Now, how does reproduction help in providing stability to the population of species? Very good. A species occupies well-defined niche andre area, okay, NICHE, well-defined niche in an ecosystem. A species occupies well-defined niche in an ecosystem using its ability to reproduce. Next point, very good. Reproduction involves formation of a copy of DNA along with its cellular apparatus. Continue the next point. This is important. For maintenance of body design features which allows the organism to use the particular niche. Gotaita, we all live in one particular environment. We require the same body design to live in that particular environment, which is given by copying of DNA. Very good. Therefore, reproduction is linked to the stability of population of a species. Therefore, reproduction is linked to the stability of population of a species. What could be the reasons for adopting contraceptive methods? First, to prevent sexually transmitted diseases. Second, to prevent unwanted pregnancies. Third, to avoid frequent pregnancy. Which helps to control the size of population. which helps to control the size of the population. Next, to maintain a good health of the mother and the child. To maintain good health of the mother and child, as small family is a happy family. Fine. To maintain difference between the birth of two children. To maintain difference in the birth of two children. You and your brother will have a age gap, at least minimum 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, depending on what your parents do. To maintain difference between two siblings or between two children. So this finishes how do organisms reproduce. Okay? From Monday, I'll continue with biology only because very little of heredity and evolution is left, and after that we'll go to the last chapter. Thank you.